Hello, welcome to Discovering the World of Natural Health. I'm your host, Claiborne Holtzman. Your life and your health are so important, and to honor yourself by giving yourself the gift of loving yourself to the utmost, that you know that you have that right and privilege based on your Creator, who has made you in His image, His likeness, and you will have a better quality of life and do it naturally. We at Remedy This Naturally, 1140 Benvenue Road, are there to help you have a better quality of life. Our topic for today is sharing health and wellness through the Green Pharmacy and the People's Pharmacy. We've got what it takes to help you understand that you can make a difference in your life and your health through wellness. For your information, we're doing this live on February the 8th, 2021. Can you believe that the time is marching right along? And we can either get on board or we can be left behind, whichever it may be. You know, I have been doing some research and checking up on some things and going back and digging up some old books and things that were there for me many years ago. And to know that we can take information. Folks, history is important. And it is sad when people want to destroy the herbal remedies that used to be. There's a few of them we can keep alive and well, but we try to rob them of their importance. And we've got to help keep it alive. And what I'm going to do today is just share things with you. It's up to you what you want to do with the information. But maybe we should look at what God has given us. I went back and I have talked about this gentleman greatly. I love his book, The Green Pharmacy. This is one of the earlier ones that he had. What you've got, they call this, according to the University of Seattle and author of Total Wellness, the Green Pharmacy is a tour de force by world's leading authority on herbal healing traditions, a treasure house of practical advice for the newcomer and pearls of wisdom for the herbal practitioner. And that's Joseph Prisamore. He's a naturopathic doctor and the president of Bastyr University in Seattle, Washington. The other thing, the Green Pharmacy, on the back cover, it says, many diseases and conditions for which we turn to modern medicine can also be treated naturally with healing herbs, medicinal foods, and other natural remedies. And these treatments can be safer, less expensive, and possibly even more effective than traditional methods. Let Dr. James Duke, the world's leading authority on natural herbs, lead you through the vast world of natural remedies. From anise for asthma to violet for varicose veins, and everything in between. With just a few trips to the natural health food store, Remedy This Naturally, or your own backyard, you can find them. And with the help of Dr. Duke, you'll have everything you need to create your own natural medicine cabinet from God's Pharmacy, or as the Graedon say, the People's Pharmacy. If you were bewildered by all the books that have been published on herbal healing, this is a good one right here. I want to share with you that Dr. James A. Duke, he passed away at the age of 88 in 2017. 18, 19, 20, 21, just 4 years ago. This guy has taken his knowledge and information to the Amazon, went there and found out and brought things back. He worked very closely with the U.S. government. I'll just read the back of here, what it says on here. Many diseases and conditions for which we turn to modern medicine can also be treated naturally with healing herbs, medicinal foods, and other natural remedies. And these treatments can be safer, less expensive, and possibly even more effective than traditional methods. I would say that it's important, and actually I believe we have a responsibility to look and search for what we are doing with and how we're taking care of the body we live in. Now, if you and I want to agree on the premise that we are made in the image and likeness of God, He created us from the elements in the earth that He created, and gives us the opportunity to learn what we can do about the vessel we live in. That's important. We're still hung up. Our topic is changing quickly. It's amazing what I hear and listen to radio and news reports, how things are changing. But I just thought it was important for me to make it available to you what the Green Pharmacy has to say about colds and flu. We're still dealing with the pandemic, still wearing masks, still getting shots. All the things been going on, and we're almost pushing a year when this all came about in March of 2020. And today is February the 8th, 2021. You know, you are special. I think it's really important that we think about, you know, we have something that was probably more of the topic of sniffling and sneezing. That was the common cold. And I thought it was kind of interesting that an infection of the upper respiratory tract, listen carefully, is caused by any of 200 different viruses. 200 different viruses. And we're trying to say this pandemic of one thing we got to have a shot for. And we are affected, folks. We've got to look at the big picture, because this one is going to pass on. And another one's going to take its place. And it's already doing that. The viral infection and immune system battle against it produce the all too familiar symptoms. These things known as sore throat, nasal congestion, runny nose, watery eyes, hacking cough, and sometimes fever. Colds are spread directly from person to person by coughing or sneezing or by hand-to-hand contact. The virus gets on one person's hands and can spread to the hands of another. If your virus-contaminated hands touch your nose or your eyes, you catch the cold. The viruses can live for several hours or even days on surfaces like counters and doorknobs. Your hands can literally pick up the way as well. The average American adult suffers 2 to 3 colds a year. The average young child has as many as, listen carefully, the adult 2 to 3, the child as many as 9. That adds up to something like 1 billion colds in a year, and more now. If you're getting more than your share of colds, your immune system may help because it needs help. Maybe the right herb can help you as they did Dr. Duke. And he says it also is very important for him to make sure of natural remedies for his grandchildren and kids and wife as well. You know, for centuries, we're just not talking a short period of a year, American Indians of the Great Plains chewed echinacea root or used it in a tea to treat colds, flu, and many other ailments. You know, over the years, since Dr. Duke printed this book, there have been articles in magazines. You know, health food stores have highlighted echinacea. The person that drove the wagon that had the medicinal recipes in it across the country of the Great West when it was settling, and you know, as the herbal doctor had the things available for them to use. And where did the herbal doctor get the ingredients for, quote unquote, his medicine? They checked and found out that the Indian were using echinacea. And echinacea was an herb that would help the common cold and help build the immune system. And the properties and the gift God gave us through the echinacea is very, very much in demand and used in the year of 2021. It's there and it's available. I mean, I took, and we can do this. All right, I'm going to go through here and see which one of these here is that one. Aha. Now, what I've done, I've switched books. I've got someone even more current, and they're still alive, that the People's Pharmacy, Home and Herbal Remedies by the Graedons, okay? Jim and Teresa. Now, I'm going to share with you, they have about 50 different herbs in this book, talk about the benefits of them and how they have helped over the years, and how they, as pharmacists, realize that these are the foundation of pharmaceuticals as we know them today. So, echinacea, garlic, other herbs that, let's see, you got ephedra. Don't do too much with that one now because of the, it worked so good they had to outlaw it. Ginger, garlic, elderberry. Those items I just mentioned are there for you today. You can probably find them right there, Remedy This Naturally. Read up on them. Google it. It's so important, folks, to be able to give credit where credit's due and realize that we definitely understand, in my opinion, that healing comes from within us as long as the body we live in has what it needs to correct what it needs to correct. Okay, echinacea, let's talk about it. Name of a genus of native North American plants, reddish or purplish flowers. There are 9 species, but only 3 of them, Echinacea gustifolia, E. pallida, and Echinacea purpurea, are used as botanical medicines. Gardeners may recognize Echinacea as the purple cone flower. Echinacea was used traditionally by many Native American tribes, and listen what they used it for. They used it to treat snake bite and many other ailments. And settlers learned of its properties from the Indians. Most of the research on the chemistry and pharmacology of these plants has been conducted in Europe, where until fairly recently Echinacea was a much more popular herb than in the United States. The current enthusiasm of Echinacea derives from research suggesting that it can stimulate the immune system and help fight off virus infection such as colds and influenza. So what I like about it is that we can take it beforehand. Or if you're going to be in a situation where you may be exposed. In the country, Echinacea is available primarily as a tincture. It's an alcohol-based extract, what a tincture is. Or as a capsule of dried leaves and stems collected from the plant when it's in flowering. Capsules of dried root are also marketed. Squeezed juice, widely used in Germany, is rarely sold here. In Germany, you can get a juice, like going to the soda fountain, and you can go to the herb fountain. Now, if I were to sneeze on my hand, then I would need to do something about it. One, I carry silver, and I carry essential oils that are used to help build my immune system. For your information, we're going to talk a little bit more about Echinacea, and that Duke in his book talks about Echinacea as one of the herbs that can be used and benefit the health and wellness of you and I when we're being under attack by the cold and flu. So if we were to use these, and basically the best time to use echinacea when you feel it coming on. Your body's telling you something's going to happen. Your body's telling you, please, I am giving you the warning sign that you need to do something naturally for yourself before it turns into something that is labeled and named a virus or, bacteria. We need to do something for it. So maybe it's in our best interest to understand a little bit about echinacea, purple coneflower. We grow them right in our garden and they're just pretty. They are more than pretty, they're healing. They're there to use for when we need them, for the purpose of helping us have a better quality of life. Talk about echinacea a little bit more. The three species are not interchangeable, although they may sometimes be confused with one another. Each may have a different balance of active compounds. Of course, the roots also different from the above ground plants, though both are utilized in medicine. The chemistry of echinacea is complex, and no single ingredient has been identified as primarily responsible for the therapeutic activity. A caffeic acid glycerol, eicosanoid make up approximately 0.1% of the leaves and stems, which also contain cereoric acid. Fresh echinacea or its juice contain a volatile substance not found in the dried plant. The root of Echinacea gustifolia contains chemical called alkaloids. And for uses of the echinacea has become extremely popular for treating colds, influenza, and other respiratory tract infections. Although the herb does not seem to kill a virus directly, it is believed to stimulate or modulate the immune system, allowing the host to fight off infections. In one European study, people taking echinacea recovered from their colds 4 days earlier than those taking a placebo. It has benefit. It has benefit. You know, both the root of the pallida and the above ground parts of the Echinacea purpurea are used in Europe for this purpose. It is usually given just at the first appearance of symptoms rather than taken daily as a prevention. One study of 300 people in 3 groups over 12 weeks was not able to demonstrate a significant advantage of the botanical medicines over placebo. The authors hypothesized that echinacea might reduce the rate of infection by 10 to 20%, undetectable at the sample size. The herb is given orally or by injection in Germany for other infections as well, including prostatitis and urinary tract infection. Has benefits. You know, listen to the next paragraph carefully. Test tube and animal research has shown that echinacea extract have significantly anti-inflammatory activity when applied to the skin. The extract also is effective as a potent anti-inflammatory drug. And topically, the extracts have been given or have been used to help hasten the healing of stubborn wounds, eczema, psoriasis, and herpes complex. Herpes simplex. Intriguing research in rats demonstrated an ability of E. purpurea extract to help protect the animal from side effects of radiation. In this study, the animals used up vitamin E, and particularly more quickly than rats not receiving echinacea. To examine the benefit of the herb, it should be given together with a multiple vitamin, in quotes here. In Australia, a formulation that includes echinacea, vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, and zinc, and garlic are prescribed at the first sign of viral respiratory infection. As far as we know, the extracts have not been studied in human undergoing radiation. Primarily, studies suggest that it may be of some use in treating certain cancers. Much more research is needed in that application. But let's stop for a moment. Let's talk about Dr. Yu. He worked 30 years for the USDA in Washington, D.C. He traveled back and forth to the jungles and looking for curative abilities of plants. He worked with the North Carolina University in Chapel Hill in Durham, local buddy here. And one of the things that's so disheartening, after he gave his love and his life for people to understand the benefits of God's plant, the one part of this book that really, there is so much. Let me go. Learning about medicinal plants, becoming a specialist, loving the jungle, focusing on medicinal herbs. Plants yield their healing secrets. Forming friendship among the Indians, surviving in the jungle. And then, the portion here, this is so sad when it came to the plants. God dedicates, he gives time, becomes a mentor, teaches the people in the pharmacology about the plants and what it does for the people in the jungles, what it does for people, like we just talked about the echinacea. Cancer research. Yeah, plants used for cancer. And what can we do to help make them have a healing ability in cancer? There's some things there. There are benefits from the plants. But here's what happened. Look at me for a moment. See this part here? This right here goes up to 581 pages. Okay? And then rest of it, close it out at 600 and some. It's just got a few little few little pages here, a whole lot of pages here. We get to right here on the thick part and ending and going into the small part. Cancer research funding dries up. By 1981, my laboratory's annual budget for cancer screening program was $500,000. And I was doing such exciting work that I didn't notice the storm clouds gathering in the Reagan administration. Going back, instead I visited China with Dr. James Reveal of the University of Maryland with a goal to collectively and collect as many medicinal plants as possible. But once again, the Chinese have a different way. We only got to collect in one region, forest in the southern west China. Otherwise, we spent our time in botanical gardens or herbal apothecaries or research facilities. Nevertheless, we visit Harbin, Beijing, Chongqing, Shanghai, and reported that some 300 species for cancer screening program. So they had gone to all these cities and these towns, and they had found 300 species for the cancer screening program. Shortly after we got back, Ronald Reagan shut down the program, and my laboratory along with it. I continued to research botanical approaches to cancer treatment, but I did it at home on my own time. After a brief, unhappy stint working on trying to improve wheat's disease resistance by breeding domestic wheat with several wild species, in 1982, I returned to the narcotic program at the USDA. This move allowed me to return to my beloved tropics, looking again into alternative crops for cocaine, marijuana, and poppy, opium poppy. The job took me to Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Thailand, and every stop I added material to my ever-expanding medicinal plant database. And he did. He finally retired from the USDA. And what happened then? His work got harder. She had, before I get to that, here it is, guy's doing his work, finding out what's there for us, the people in the plant world. Now, let's just go back to this and let's just reiterate, let's you and I talk for a moment. James Duke is not the only person. I have, and even if you'll go look up him and you'll look up the things about who he was, let me back up a little bit here. I wrote some notes in front of this. Actually, you can go to AHPA, American Herbal Products Association. Check it out. And you can go there and you'll see where the people mourn the death of James A. Duke, December the 11th, 2017. You can go to Duke's website, which is greenpharmacy.com. And There's a tribute to Dr. Duke in there by Stephen Foster. If you want to look up, just look up tribute, James Duke, Stephen Foster. And that tribute was back in 2007. Ode to Jim Duke. Check it out. And there are other people, and he mentions people that I have met, I have worked with in years past, and he talks about the different authors and how, and they give them recognition to the ones that have done these studies. Here's what I started to say before I went back and start giving you references. Do you believe God created man, woman, child, the plants? Or you want to go ahead and stick to it just got here by spontaneous regeneration, spontaneous blowing up, coming into existence? If you and I agree that I should not be the only voice in this network here that is crying out for God's pharmacy, the people's pharmacy. Those are people that are sharing knowledge and information, but you'll notice that everything that is shared and discussed and talked about is done like walking on eggshells. That gotta be politically correct when I tell you that this could be, should be, may be. But when I am in the process of quoting people who have recognition in the pharmaceutical realm, in the medical doctor realm, then it should open up and make us ask questions, okay? One of the things for flu, and I'll try to come back to it, is the use of, we're talking about soup, chicken noodle soup, garlic and chicken soup, healing. But before I go off on that tangent, talking about that, if you and I are under the belief, and we can get away from the point that man is so great that he wants to be Adam and Eve again and say how much they are in charge of their life and their health and their well-being, and they get the butt kicked out of the Garden of Eden. Now, you and I have got to agree that that is a place to start. If we don't go there, then you don't even need to keep watching. You just keep on doing and hope that God will wake you up one night in a dream or send you a dream, and you can write down the information on it, and you can say, here, God told me to do this, this, and this with his plant kingdom. Okay. Point I'm trying to make, and I keep going around and around and around on it, is this. If God created the heavens and the earth, created the plants, and then he saw it was all good, and after he saw it was all good, he said, it's a lonely place without having people, and I need fellowship. So he created Adam and Eve. And with that in mind, as he had them, not going to get to the part that they broke away and they want to do their own thing. He placed them in a protective environment called the Garden of Eden. And in that protective environment, the Garden of Eden, he had available for them to consume and to use and to bask in the sun. Everything that was needed for them to live and never die. I mean, go back and look at where people live in. Methuselah, how many years he lived. You know, it was average, folks. It was okay to live 900 years. Here at all, we think we're doing something big if we can reach 100. But we've gotten away from the pharmaceutical, plant-based product that were in the Garden of Eden, that it got to feeling a little bad. Eve, go pick off this apple over here and pass it to Adam. Did exactly what God told him not to do and lost it. Folks, we got the same problem, you and I. And that is, we are doing more of what God said don't do. We're doing it. And we're getting the consequences. What's the real consequence? The real consequence is we are missing the fellowship with the Creator. And when we miss the fellowship, we have a big chance of not being and knowing what the will of God is for us, because we're kind of looking and seeing what self-help book we can do, what diet we can make from something man has put together in a laboratory. You're so doggone special, folks. And the thing you need, talk to your elders. Ask some of the crazy questions about when you got a sneeze and a common cold or the flu, what did mama do? What was there for you to help overcome it and get by it? Life went on. And people prayed. And they ate, they fasted, and they left room for the botanicals that God made for our health and wellness. That's what we need to get back to today. That's why I spend a lot of time learning, listening, and wondering, why in the world isn't this available for us? Answers are already there. Okay. The other thing is, we talk about the flu. Let me go back in here, and I put my plug on the page, so echinacea, we talked about. Garlic, I love this part he wrote it. It's got such good humor. I love it. You'll agree with me. Listen, eat enough garlic, and most people, along with the cold germs, will stay away from you. You know, I'm not joking on this, and Dr. Duke wasn't joking either. And there really are some excellent reasons to use this herb to prevent colds and flu. Garlic contains several helpful compounds, including allicin, one of the plant's kingdom's most potent, broad-spectrum antibiotic. You want an antibiotic? You got it. Garlic, you got it. As anyone who has ever had garlic breath knows, this herb's aromatic compounds are readily released from the lungs and respiratory tract, putting garlic's active ingredients right where they can be most effective against cold viruses. It's there. It's there. But because we're so darn modest that we don't want to smell like garlic, we got something for that at Remedies Naturally. Come in and get some kyolic. It doesn't have the odor. It's important. Ginger. Pouring a cup of boiling water into a couple of tablespoons of fresh shredded ginger, or open up some capsules of ginger and smell it. I love it. I love putting it in a teacup and just letting it open my nostrils of what the garlic's not doing. And make a good hot tea. Makes a lot of sense as a cold treatment. That's because this herb contains a dozen antiviral compounds. Ginger, a dozen antiviral. You got a virus? Hey, scientists have isolated several chemicals in ginger that have specific effects against most common family of cold viruses. The rhinovirus. Some of these chemicals are remarkably potent in their anti-rhinovirus effect. Still another constituent in ginger, gingerols and sugarols help relieve cold symptoms because they reduce pain and fever. Suppresses coughing, mild sedative effect that encourages rest. And the biggest thing we need to understand, excuse me, now I know what I need to do, right? Yep, I will. In gingerols, ginger has one more thing that's going for you. It's tasty. I'll say that there are a lot of good reasons to make ginger a regular part of your cold treatment arsenal. So we talked about ginger, we talked about garlic, we talked about echinacea. History, folks, years and years and years go back where they're available for us. Black cherry. I tell you something as good as make a pitcher of lemonade and get some black cherry juice in that lemonade. God, it is great. It really tastes good. So basic teas have been used for colds, but you also can use fruits that contain vitamin C and taste good too. Citrus fruits and other foods contain vitamin C. Very important. Didn't spend any time on the elderberry. We've done that over and over again. A lot of you really are familiar with elderberry now more than ever. But just if you want to check on some other things, mullein. I love my mullein. Senna snake root, slippery elm, watercress, willow. And I did tell you about this one, and I didn't finish it a while ago. I told you about, the chicken noodle soup. Add garlic and onion chicken noodle soup. I hardly agree with folklore tradition. Hot, spicy chicken soup is good for the colds and the flu. Just make sure you use lots of garlic and onions and along with your vegetables, throw in some ginger and hot red pepper. You know what Dr. Duke says about that? He said, good food, good medicine. And then Hippocrates had already said way before his time, let food be your medicine and let your medicine be your food. The point I'm trying to get across is that we have answers that are being left on the table. We're not using the information and the knowledge and expertise passed on. History gives us what we need so we don't make the same mistakes again. That's critical. Why should your children, and some of you are old enough to understand the chicken noodle soup, then there's a generation now that have children and children that are coming along, and they go get some Benadryl, go get some pharmaceutical way of taking care of this. When you could not have to leave home with your chicken noodle soup, your garlic and stuff. And I'll tell you what, wasabi? Woo, yes. I've had it, I thought my eyes were going to blow out of my head. But guess what it did? It opened it up, it cleared my head, and made it so I could breathe. It was good to me, good to me. Getting the idea? I go over here and I just want to spend what we've got left. Because this is, most people now are familiar with ginger, garlic, maybe echinacea after the broadcast today, elderberry, another name for that you may be hearing, sambucol. But the American elder is a large shrub native to North America. Folks, it grows wild right here in Rocky Mount. Grows on the side of the road. It bears white flowers early in the summer and dark, almost black berries in the late summer. Both the flowers and the berries have been used as food for making wine. According to James Duke, elder blowflower wine is something special, delicious, and beautiful pale yellow color. I remember growing up as a young'un that Uncle Adam, he was always famous for his elderberry wine. Presumably, American settlers knew the European elder, a plant believed to have magical healing powers, and used the American native in similar ways. The flowers were formerly prized for use in salves and ointments and juices. Of the berries were valued as a tonic. It found throughout Europe and is still used as a botanical medicine. Both flowers and berries are used, and in Europe are considered different herbal medicines. And it's got active ingredients in it to make it happen. Chemistry, God's chemistry, not man's chemistry in the laboratory, but man's chemistry. You are exceptional individual. If you accept the fact, or will consider accepting the fact, that you're made in the image and likeness of God, He created you, and that He wants you to be perfect in every aspect, and quit robbing, stealing, and destroying from yourself the joy and life and happiness of what we can be, because we have thrown and we've kicked God to the curb. And so it's just not kosher. It's not the thing to be in this day and time. But as we move forward, may you, because of the few words we've said, the things we've shared on this broadcast, it's for you to have a better quality of life, not to hurt, not to be in pain. And quit doing the things that are causing the body to deteriorate and fall apart. I love you guys. You're worth it. I am so happy that God took the opportunity to give me all these adversities so I could find answers and help make you a recipient. I'm Claiborne Holtzman from Remedy This Naturally, 1140 Bienvenue Road. Come in and check out the Contract Post Office and the deli. Check it out. Until we meet again, God bless you, and may good health be yours naturally. Bye.